David Kirsten, I'm doing the live stream for the service. So I've got the slide set up there.
Haven't seen you for a long time.
Yeah, we've been coming more. Doing the live stream with most of the services.
Thank you for all your help.
You got to see this one going too. I'm sending out a copy. David, I'm the sound tech guy. This is Carl. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
So I know there was some sharing saying if you want stronger sound, that picks up sound over there. We have two shotgun mics set the stage and like that. So you know, I would most of the music people folks are right here. You have somebody singing with you. That mic, and then you guys can just be yeah, this is pretty much what this church is big on music and sound. Yeah, see, I got to do the live stream switching selection. So the sound. So I can otherwise, if you want, like has a stronger pickup, so she could stand here. You guys could stand here. So that's even picking up. Can you hear me through the mic? So if she stands kind of otherwise, holding out there, kind of just can do a little section or
Jim has to go down the line as a piece of exam,
those toes.
Good afternoon. We are delighted to come together today to celebrate the life of Joy Elkinton Walker. And as befits her rich and very church too, that will pass. We send prayers for whoever that ambulance is going to. We'll have lots of memories, lots of speakers, but we will try to keep it timely. And then we invite you to join us in the fellowship hall afterwards to see some of Joy's things, share some snacks, and continue to share our memories, because Joy is very memory-full and memory-worthy. And I also just want to say, if you choke up, if you laugh, all of those things are absolutely appropriate and part of our embrace of joy in our lives. So with that, I feel confident to say a welcome from Joy herself. We begin. Please join me in prayer. God of all mystery, when we experience death, our thoughts, even our bodies, are startled. Our words flutter about like frightened birds. Bring us stillness that we may hold this loss and confusion in our hearts gently. Give us grace to wait on you gently and with patience. You are nearer to us than we know. Yet sometimes we cannot find you. Help us to understand that you are here nonetheless. Before loss darkened our lives, you were alongside us. As you walk in the valley of every shadow, be our good shepherd and hold us up while we walk with you. Keep us in your way of love and resilience and hope. Amen. And to bring us together and help us to center, I invite you to O God, you have searched us and known us. You know when we sit down and when we rise up. You search out our paths and are acquainted with all our ways. All together, where can we go from your Spirit? If we ascend to heaven, you are there. If we make our beds in Sheol, you are there. If we take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there, for you formed our inward parts. You knitted us together in our mother's wombs. We praise you, for we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. Our souls know this very well. Our frames are not hidden from you when we were being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for us. Amen. And then I also invite you to join me in a litany of remembrance. And I think most what I would like you to do is just join me with the refrain of saying, we remember her. And may you hold Joy's presence in your heart as we say this. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember her. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember her. So long as we live, she too shall live, for joy is now a part of us as we remember her. Now I invite you now to stand. Hymn 314 in the red hymnal. Please be seated. Now we will have some readings and some remembrances, and Jimmy Brown is the first I would like to invite up.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jimmy Brown, and I have the immense pleasure and distinction of being Joy's only grandson. I think I got this water upstairs earlier. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8a. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. You're up, Auntie.
Greetings. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces and remember so many who have gone before us, who were special to Mom and our family. For Mom, my lovely, and would welcome you to stay with a vase full and send you home with a jar full, along with lemons from our tree, who in the tradition of her mother, to celebrate life, each other, our relationships, abundance of food, of wonderful food, who would love to bring her family together at Yosemite, so we could immerse ourselves in the beauty of the dogwoods, the trails, the rivers, the views, and our connection to spirit. And at Echo Lake, for the serenity and the stillness of the lake, for the penstemon and the juniper trees, for the connection to generations of to stand up for what we believe in, for ourselves, for others, with determination and grace, and in many aspects of life. Mom, thank you for being there when you were needed and living with life with good example. May I grow to be more like you.
Hello everyone, my name is Elsie, and I'm privileged to be here today to talk about Mom Joy. Like I usually call her, my American mom. Mom Joy was not just a mom to me, but she was also a very good support system. I got to know her and I worked with her for close to like 2 years as a CNA. But I stand here today as a nurse. Kudos to Mom Joy. She made sure I went through nursing school. She made sure I finished nursing school, she was always there to keep me pushing on till I got my NCLEX. Oh, God. So I'm privileged to be here today. I'm honored. I can't stop thinking and thanking Mom. I have a poem I want to, read in honor of her, and I want everyone to listen. Mom, as I call you. I still hear your voice in the quiet of dawn, like a whisper of. Though times keeps moving and seasons must change, the ache in my heart still feels so strange. You were the sun that lit up my skies, the steady embrace when I needed to cry. Your laughter, a melody etched in my soul. Your love, a fire that still makes me whole. I remember the stories, Mom, the songs you'd sing, the way your soft touch could heal anything. In the kitchen, Mom, your hands danced like art, and every small gesture stitched into my heart. You taught me, Mom, to stand, to dream, and believe in myself. Now, Mom, flowers bloom on the path where you walked. I cherish the wisdom in the words that you talked. Though, Mom, I can't call your name or reach for your hands, but I still feel your love like waves on the sand. Some nights, Mom, I dream we are laughing again. Your arms around me, the world without end. Mom, I wake with a tear, but always smile, because I know you are in a better place. Mom, you were mine for a time, and that was worthwhile. I carry your legacy deep in my chest. In the choices I make and how I love best, in each act of courage, in each gentle deed, I honor your life and plant every seed. Though you are not here, Mom, you are never gone. You'll never be gone. Your spirit, your lessons, forever lives on. So I write this and with love. My soul laid bare, where time doesn't bend. I'll hold you close, Mom. You were my friend. You were my mom. I always call that my American mom. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Lynn and Elsie. Please stand as you are able to sing Amazing Grace, which is in your red hymnal 378. be seated. And now we are entering a time of people who are really significant in Joy's life, sharing some remembrances. So we begin with Janine Heron.
It's so nice to see everyone here. Thank you so much for coming and celebrating the life of my sister Joy. We started this afternoon with some wonderful music that have just brought joy to my heart. I haven't been in a church for a long time, but three of the things that we've heard already today are my favorite hymns. The pianist was playing Dear Lord and Father of Mankind, which is really an old Quaker hymn that ends with sweet time of calm. And I'm hoping that it will give me some calm as I speak today. It's hard to summarize what a sister means to me in just a few words. So I'm going to just pick a few highlights and hope that others will cover different parts of her life. I'm going to talk about connections, and the first connection is really the friendship that our mother and father had with Anne and Fred Elkinton, because that affected the lives of many of the family that's here today. That connected us to Echo Lake and the cabin at Echo Lake. And I was reading recently something that I wrote when I was 12 years old. It was in Joy's collection of books and papers and things that we've been going through. And the assignment was for me to write about things I like and things that I will always like. And lo and behold, everything that I wrote on a 2-page essay there, or statement there, was about the joys that I had gotten from Echo. Sweetness of lying in a meadow, probably hay-press meadows. And I realized, reading that, how much that connection to Echo Lake and to my family have changed my life. And of course, everybody here, the girl. And that's really the time that I had the most intimate time with my sister, because when she was 9 years older than me, and so she left home when she was 16, so I barely remember the times before that. But I remember very clearly family gatherings at the house and all the gatherings at Echo Lake. To our mother and father. Our father, James Hull, was a very conscientious man. And in fact, he was a conscientious objector in the First World War, and spent some time in incarceration, and then was sent to alternative service. Joy was a very conscientious person. I think of all the adjectives I could come up with about Joy would be how conscientious she was in living a good life. One of our father's sayings was play fair, which always, of course, annoyed us, or annoyed me anyway. But play fair is something that Joy always did, and she had a great sense of social justice. And I think that largely came from our father, but also from our mother. thinking about social justice. She, as it says in her bio, went to Palestine in 2016 in empathy and compassion for the people of the occupied West Bank. And I actually met my husband in the West Bank. We were both teaching at a Quaker school that we shared. And this, I'm wearing this today because this was one of her jackets and was made in Palestine by Palestinian women. The last thing I want to say, because I don't have very much time, is I want to tell the story of how she wrote this book, because it's an amazing story that she put together. She did the research with Carl, her husband, and they both spent hours and hours trying to learn more about our grandmother and this extraordinary woman who left France and set out to the New World with her husband and had all kinds of interesting and awful things that befell before she came to the Bay Area and eventually met a husband at the French consulate and married him, and he became our Daddy Brun. So if you're interested in some more of Joy's life, I recommend that you take a look at this book. It's well written. It's an extraordinary story of our grandmother, but it's also an extraordinary accomplishment of my dear sister. I think that's all I'll say, except we miss you, Joy, and we love you very much.
Sharon and I, my name is David Covington. As you see, Sharon and I are glad to be here today, although the occasion is but send their loving greetings to you all, and especially to Joy's family. Joy and my mom, Miriam Bruff, met at Whittier College in the mid-1940s and became pals. My mom was in the year behind Joy and admired her. Mom hung on to their college annual from Joy's senior year for the rest of her life. I found it when we were going through my mom's things after she died in 2018. I found that Joy was active in several campus clubs, even while keeping up her studies and being a young wife to Bob. Busy. My mom looked up to her and treasured their friendship. My parents, who married in 1947, found a house conveniently near Bob and Joy's place. My mom pulled a little red wagon, and Joy gave us lunch and treated us with the same practical kindness and good humor that we all recognize as her signature. Kathy and Lynn's dad had built them a terrific tree house, and when I got old enough, they and later Jeannie to our house for lunch sometimes. My dad dubbed Kathy and Lynn's new baby sister Teeny Weeny Jeannie with the light brown hair after a popular song. These were the 1950s. And domestic delights mingled in the these close friendships and were often in each other's homes. You will hear a little more of this tight cluster when Kathy has her opportunity. And you'll get to see jokes among this tight cluster about arranged marriages between the children. I don't know who's the luckier that didn't come off. When the news came that Joy and Bob never heard of Orinda, we were confounded. Our life was... I was scarcely 5 years old, and my life would never be the same. These friends, this whole little tight circle, put together a mosaic table that the family, as I understand, has brought here today, and you can see it. And if you look carefully, you can see in the various symbols of each of the families. If you see a pair of glasses on a book, I think that's the symbol for my family, because my dad was a teacher. As the years unfolded, the Covington family visited the Elkinton family in their new home, but most memorably at their cabin on Echo Lake, where Joy's hospitality shone with special brightness. Kerosene, I think, or maybe it was white gas. Do you remember? My sisters and brother and I treasured every sunrise, every memory of Joy and Bob and the family at the Echo Lake cabin. When Sharon and I were raising our children, loyal Joy invited us to bring our children, including our daughter named Joy, to their special paradise where our kids learned to row and sail and fish and hike, roughing it in the nicest way possible. They learned especially to join in the deep, long-lasting family friendship that Joy had first extended to their grandmother years ago in college. With similar loyalty, Joy brought Carl with her to attend 2 musical concerts that my musical group gave in their reunion tour in 2002. The Salt Company, formed in the late 60s and into the early 70s to sing the gospel to young people, performed near Orinda. And how thrilled we were to see Joy and Carl beaming in the audience. A little later, Joy sent me a birthday present. A signed copy of her biography of her grandmother that you've just seen displayed. Sharon and I read it with eagerness and delight. And I imagine there's a copy here you can look at. I recommend it. Joy's life and death summon me to more than reminiscence. God calls me to thank him not only for her many kindnesses to my family and me, but for Joy herself. Thanks be to God for this woman. I knew her as we completely. And he has work for me. Sharon and I took part in a memorial service in another one, just a few short miles from here, only 12 days ago, for our dear nephew. These 2 memorial services in quick succession call me, through God, in God, to consider my own death. Perhaps you also hear God's call today. God gives us good words for our consideration in Psalm 90. Listen with me to verses 2 through 4 and verse 12 of Psalm 90. I commend the whole psalm to you. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. You return man to dust and say, return, or as yesterday when it is past, or as a watch in the night. So teach us to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom. God grant us wisdom. I look forward perhaps afterward to hearing reminiscences from some of y'all. Thank you.
Great job, Dave. It's been a long time since I've
had a chance to visit with you, so we'll catch up later. They kind of threw me a curve. Sorry, my name is Andy Albrecht, and my mom and dad went to Whittier College, where I didn't know Joy's name was Hall at that time. But all the friends that they established over the years, and later became the Fearless Five, which I'll talk about a little bit. But I kind of was in the impression, since I've grown up with the Elkinton girls, I could have an unlimited time to speak, but I told that isn't, so I have to ad-lib here a little bit. But I've got 2 grown daughters, and they laugh at me because I cry easy and I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and so just kind of bear with me if you would. One other thing I wanted to start with, if those of you who know the name of Jim Valvano, he was a basketball coach. Good day when you can think and you can laugh and you cry. Also, I would like to start, I want to apologize to everybody here, that there'll always be the Elkintons to me. It'll be Joy Elkinton and the 3 daughters. So to Carl and the husbands and everybody, it's, I can say they're always Elkintons to me. Okay, obviously we're here today to celebrate the life of Joy, and she was the next to the last of a legacy of what we called the Fearless Five, which all started back at Whittier College. And sometimes when my kids tell me when the dinosaurs were still walking on the earth. So it was the Elkintons, the Galdens, the Albrechts, the Burns, the Aseltines, and the Covingtons began their friendship. And since I was born in 1950, it's been my whole life. As I started to prepare my talk today, I kind of went, hey, that's 6 couples. How did we get the Fearless Five out of 6 families? I do not have an answer for that. My memories of Joy. She was always gracious and caring and giving and warm and generous, a good friend and an awesome fisher woman. I say my relationship started around 1955, so there was a lot of the stuff I wanted to share goes way back in time, decades ago. As I thought what I wanted to say, I kept coming up with new stories and things that I wanted to share. And again, like I said, I've grown up with the Elkinton girls. So myself, Kathy, Lynn, and Jeannie, particularly, who I've kept in touch with over the years, kept a stronger relationship. There are other, David there, who haven't kept in touch. It seems unfortunate we only get together on days like today. But they're very good, I consider very good friends of mine. So we started as children, and now we are the senior citizens. And again, all the memories and the friendships, and it's all thanks to Joy. So a couple of things that I like to credit Joy with. She taught me how to cook. And so when I was a young boy, and my mom and dad and my older brother, we would go up to Echo, and Joy and Bob and my dad were obviously big fishermen, so they would go out. As kids, we'd have to go raid the refrigerator and learn something to cook, otherwise we were going to starve to death. The other thing is, Joy taught me how to get to sleep at night, sometimes with restless nights. And your stress of work and raising kids and stuff, it's like, life can be stressful, so I always think back what Joy taught us. And so that was, again, when I was a child, we would be laying on the floor in the main living area at the cabin, and had the fire going, and we'd all kind of been talking and visiting and catching up, and then Joy, I'd feel my eyes rolling back in my head, and soon I was asleep, and I was told later that I was quite the snorer, Joy, I was grateful for that. I really only saw Joy get mad twice. I know I have to keep my time here, so shorten up. One of them was, I came up to Echo for the wedding of Lynn and Tom, and wedding and a reception at the Echo cabin, and then Jeannie, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were going to be here today, but your husband decided it was a good idea to push him into the lake. And I think I remember some steam coming out of Joy's ears, but then later talking to my mom, she said, no, Joy was much more angry than that. The second time was Lynn had a good friend from college named Carol, and I came up and we decided to make, and so Lynn made some stuffed tomatoes, and we packed those up in foil, and we hiked up to this ridge, and we got to the top, and down one side was Echo Lake, and the other side was Lake Tahoe. So we had a little fire, we heated up these tomatoes, and had a great meal, and got together, watched the sunset. So then we pulled out our flashlights, and we hiked back to the cabin, and Joy was standing there waiting for us, and she was mad and how dangerous we had done, but I kind of pushed Lynn in front of me and let her take the abuse, and we all survived. I always looked forward to later in life with my family, going back up to Echo to catch up with Joy and her family and the girls and reminisce and create new memories. So every few years, I've been going up to the and catch up with the Elkintons and create those new memories. And then about the day 3, when it's time for me to go home, I look over and there would be Kathy, Lynn, and Jeannie like, Andy's going home, you know. And so I'd always go to Joy, and she would thank her for her hospitality, and we had a great time. And she always invited me to come back the next year. So, in closing, on my next trip up, would you please keep that Elkinton oar up over the boathouse so I can find my way back. And Joy, we miss you. Thank you.
I follow in my aunt's footsteps in more ways than one. And to answer Andy's question, the Fearless 5 became the Senseless 6, for a little history. So you've heard about the table a little bit. Well, our family moved to Orinda in '62, and that mosaic table that is in the fellowship hall was a group project, going away gift to our parents from their closest friends. It was designed by 6 special couples who showed their relationship through art to create images of each family and intertwine them all together with an olive branch and dove, signifying their common goal of working for peace. Each symbol representing a family is made of little pieces. When viewed together, create a whole image. We are all made of little pieces that are reflections of the important people in our lives that continue to create who we are and who we strive to be. Each little tile is insignificant by itself, but it tells a powerful story when viewed with its neighbor to create a whole picture, idea, or a person. Mom was a reflection of all of us. She was fortunate to have nearly 97 years to absorb and reflect the love of those around her. She never stopped for her family and for those who she cared about around the world. At 95, she researched and wrote the book that Janine talked about her grandmother coming to the United States via the Panama Canal. Please join us in the fellowship hall and see the little table, the little mosaic table, and pick up a copy of that book. We have several copies that you're welcome to have. Mom also wanted to support the church's Mercy and Justice Commission, so please feel free to make a donation, and please take home an owl from her extensive collection. We have lots. You may even want 2. For the last several years, Mom had a saying on her kitchen cabinet: embrace a slower pace. It's the little things that add up to a full life. Mom had a lot of little things and a very full life.
I'm Kathy Kling, but I'm also Roger Samuelson. Roger and Jeannie Samuelson are back east attending a graduation. So I am going to be Roger for a moment. When I say the word I, think Roger and Jeannie, okay? In the early 1970s, Joy and I served on a church study committee tasked with examining the church's mission and programs. Pete Hartigan was also a member of that committee. We had a chance over the course of a year of deliberations to experience Joy's spiritual journey, her deep devotion to the Orinda Community Church, and her passion for social justice and reform. Among the committee's recommendations that especially resonated with Joy was, while acknowledging the fundamental good sense of being attentive and responsive to the needs of the immediate community, many in the church feel Orinda's problems are not relatively great, and that we and the community at large should be looking outward to serve others in greater need. Very true. John Brooke was associate pastor at the time and also served on the committee. He and Joy developed a special relationship. In the years that followed, John married all three daughters, Kathy, Lynn, and Jeannie, and in 2000, joined Frank Baldwin in marrying Joy and Carl. I would note parenthetically that John married Jeannie and Roger in 1970. He had quite an impact on each of our lives. The Elkinton and Brooke family, after leaving Orinda to take a pastorate in Prescott, Arizona, John wrote Bob and Joy, quote, "Because we are so poor about writing, I don't know if you know how much your continuing friendship means to us. Some of our happier memories of these past years are of time spent with Elkintons, either in Orinda or Echo Lake. Thank you so much for being who you are." The Samuelson family also spent memorable times at the Elkinton cabin. Son Bob recalls They were gracious hosts at Echo Lake. I remember most about Bob piloting us around the lake in his boat, showing us sights and how to navigate. And daughter Thea adds, "I remember that when coming back up to the house after a day on the lake, Joy was often in the kitchen preparing snacks or a meal. Her huge smile and her wanting to know every detail of our day on the lake." Still another experience which was mentioned recently was that Joy in 2011, when Joy and Carl and others from OCC in traveling to Guatemala under the auspices of Common Hope and addressing the needs of impoverished families. We were asked in advance about our strengths and interests. Joy listed gardening, attending lectures, learning new skills, outreach and communications, going to the mountains, beach and new places, concerts and ballet performances. A Renaissance woman she was, and a wonderful addition to our team. She wrote in their journal, "I was very impressed with the work that Common Hope is doing in the field of education and clinics and social services." On a personal level, Jeannie and I will always be grateful for the countless ways Joy reached out to us on birthdays and other special occasions. One year she surprised Teeb and Rudy Thomas and us during fellowship hour on Valentine's Day. Roger also brings up that over the years, Joy was OCC's historian, and she was the church's conscience. She valued and was a strong advocate for kindness, compassion, generosity, and making a difference in the world. Share life's journey with her and her family. That is Roger, and now it's I knew of Joy in the church. I joined here in '92. She joined in the late '60s, or in the community church. And all the words that Roger was saying about consciousness, compassion, caring for the underserved, social justice, mercy and justice, ministry, that's kind of how I saw Joy overall. But we came all from Joy, and I had my arm in a sling from rotator cuff surgery, and Joy said, Carl and I would like your help here at the house. And I said, you know, I'm not real good at filing right now. I only have one hand. She said, it's not filing that I want you to come and talk with us. And so became a relationship of the last 7 years that has incredibly changed me and has helped me to see and love a family that I didn't know. We solved all sorts of financial issues. We organized things. There were just myriad of projects going on. And one of the biggest ones was that Carl and Joy decided to stay in their home in 9 Lind Court and not move to a senior facility. So imagine all the things you do during a day, and then look at some of the personal goals you had to do. And that was overwhelming. But what Joy did was she surrounded herself with people who had the talents. Marcia helped Joy write that book. She had caregivers that cared for her beyond the usual caring. She had Wally, who was errand runner, gardener, fix-it man. She had Alfonso. She had me. She had Jennifer, who was helping Carl with your history. So when I look at what Joy did, what she accomplished while her body was in the decline, her brain was not. And that when you see that book up above, it is a marvel. I think of her having to go and rest because Karen said, you've got to rest every afternoon. So think of her on a pillow with her feet elevated and the phone. She's staying in touch while she was, quote, resting. But that was Joy. So thank you very much for listening. I look forward to more stories about a wonderful woman. Thank you.
First, I want to thank you for all your attendance and all that you have done to enrich Joy's life and those around her. And it wasn't just in terms of a level of happiness, but it was also an expansion of what's involved in the activities. And Joy, I'd known Joy about 2 years through our Wednesday morning group, when we got married. And at that time, they had, she and the family had decided to go and to Australia to meet with the family that Jeannie had. Within weeks, I was up there, and it was a wonderful, wonderful. It was. We went to New Zealand. We went into both. Excuse me, into different parts of Australia and then to Fiji. But this matter of she enriched my life both in terms of energy, but also in expanding its breadth as well. So that's really wonderful. And there are, yeah, okay. As I wrote down, gave me a first-time experiences with Joy. It was boom. I learned how her friends radiated around her, and I got a sense of her universe. And Jeannie, and so I'm just doing a little bit of jumping around, and I appreciate all that you people have mentioned, because it's very important. And so, excuse me. Okay. Other people have mentioned the trip. We went, a trip put together by Orinda Community Church dealing with the Reformation. And so we, Joy and I started out in Scandinavia, because that's where my mother's from. But we traveled around and we spent weeks in Germany. We actually lived with a family from. It was a wonderful experience. We ended up with the final thing was we ended up in Holland, but it was once again a very enlightening trip for us. We also went to China and spent 3 or 4 weeks there, which was very, very enlightening. And there were quite a lot of other things as well that we did. And people have mentioned the program with the Palestinians, and it was a real eye-opener and a real opportunity for all of us. And we had with us too. I could go on for a long time. The one thing I think that probably shows up time and time again in our experience is how much she radiated to all of us around, which tended to not only encourage us, but it also spread the benefits from what we were all creating. And so I want to thank you all for all that she did, and most of all, I want to thank Joy for making for a wonderful, wonderful 25 years of living together. And thank you all for being here, and Once again, thank you.
Well, as you have heard, our mother was a very caring, engaging, determined, and independent person throughout her lifetime. As she aged and her mobility, people to help her continue the activities she was so used to handling on her own. With her independent spirit, this was not an easy task for her, but she somehow developed a knack for surrounding herself with loving, caring people who wanted to help. This included many volunteers from both seniors around town and La Marinda Village, her dear friend and confidant, right-hand Kathy Kling, who kept her finances on the straight and narrow and made sure everyone got paid. Wally, who looked after the yard, artfully presented gifts from her garden, kept her bird feeders full to her great enjoyment, and was a jack of all trades. Lisa, her patient and enduring computer guru. Jennifer, who helped her organize. And amazing Marcia, who masterfully enabled Mom to write her book. Her caregivers also became part of the family over the years, starting with Karen and Antoinette, the summer of 2018, and continued with Elsie, and Berta, and Luba, Olina, Christine, and Imelda, with Karen graciously hanging in there to the very end and helping Carl transition to life at Byron Park. Our family is so grateful to all those who so lovingly cared for our mother through thick and thin, even as life got more challenging. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you.
I'm honored to offer a bit of a reflection about Joy and also feel her really held in love and honor by God. I begin by thinking about beauty, about how my cell phone would ping and I would look down and see a picture of a beautiful tree flowering in the spring light. Or I would look down and see a beautiful tree, red and auburn, in the autumn light. And that Joy would give me such gifts, as I know she gave many of you, tells me something important about her. A person so self-directed and purposeful, that willingness to pause and take in beauty in the world and then share it with others is significant. It's a kind of reverence and faith that God's creation is worthy of our attention and care, and also that we're in it together. Such beauty and that sharing seems so characteristic of Joy to me. A display of her beautiful textiles that Karen Sanford put up on the wall here, the gorgeous leaves and branches that Joy contributed to an outdoor Advent wreath that Robin Holmes made. Joy always wanted me to have big, gorgeous pine cones from her yard for the Advent workshop crafts. And the first time I walked past the lively bird feeder, love of the world in art and pictures that I saw there. Joy was the first person who ever fed me ume candy. She thought it was delicious. I did not feel the same way, but I was happy to come over later and enjoy Luba's Russian food, which he was also eager to share. And from all of these things, I learned that Joy was always learning, always welcoming new experience, that her life was fundamentally to find ways to participate and open the door for others to participate as well. It is a well-known fact of church life that Joy, an early and able adopter of texting, as Kathy noted, people to join us from Marinda Senior Village. What if we connected with his organization to support health and justice for Palestinians? Can we use this excellent reading curriculum to support young readers? Elizabeth, if I can make it, will you come to the next AAUW meeting with me? Did you look at the bell that Keith just polished up? Both Kathy and I have been known to get texts mid-service saying, how about you refocus the live stream away from the empty pews? Me at all. I think she knew that I valued her suggestions because I admired her passionate, utterly loyal commitment to participating not only in the church, but in the world, in life itself. Participation is a kind of faith that we belong in the world and can make a difference to it. And Joy was not just ardent in her own projects, but in celebrating and in that way participating in others' lives. She loved to talk about her daughters, her grandson, her sister, her phone conversation with Elva, to show me pictures of her and Carl's trip to New Zealand when I was about to go there myself. To persist and persist until she finished her book. Participate and make a difference, that is what Joy did. And I so admire that as her body got more and more fragile, Joy still found ways to live a rich and connected life. Was she fierce? I think that word will work. Resilient? Yes. I love the story that Jeannie told me of saying to Joy, Mom, you're so stubborn. And Joy responding, I'm not stubborn, I'm determined. Yes. If ever there were a human proof that the Spirit is larger and more potent than your fierce and abiding soul, Joy, that is with us still and always will be. But as much as I want to say that Joy was fierce and passionate, I also want to say how very tender she could be. So many times when I took her hand and prayed with her, I would look up at the end of the prayer and see tears on her cheeks. Now, I imagine that she probably had fairly high expectations of her caregivers, but she loved and delighted in you. She was good at finding spirits, kindred spirits, in all sorts of places. And how moving to see in the last weeks of her life, when she was often in a lot of pain, that Joy freely and often told the people around her that she loved them. To see on one of the last days that she was able to talk at all, Joy reaching out her hand to Carl and calling him her darling. Within that remarkable energy was a Quaker heart. And so you are right. She chose a long time ago that we would have that John Greenleaf Whittier hymn in her memorial service. Perhaps that Quaker sense of listening for God helps account for the joint commitment to justice and contemplative reverence for creation. So Joy modeled a continuous relationship with God full of curiosity and resilience, and I think, true to her name, a real measure of joy. She strove to make the world a better place, but that striving came less from critique than from love. Love is kind. I feel her love, sorry. Love is kind. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. Rejoices in the truth. Love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. In Joy, we can see that love isn't stubborn. It is simply lovingly determined. God, the scripture tells us, is love. And that is why we can offer joy to God and God's care, where she will continue on in peace and power and beauty. Thank you. Bye.
love seeing the lemons up here. That's just a perfect thing for Joy. We've been asked to sing a song that, as I've been listening to people, highlight some really wonderful things. To a welcome and even to consistency. And that it highlights a mealtime. You can all think in your head of the Norman Rockwell painting of Thanksgiving with all the quirky people around the table. But something in you goes, oh, yes, and they go, my mind wasn't like that. I can think about sitting around the Elkinton's kitchen, and this is before Carl, in this bright yellow kitchen with owls everywhere, and Joy's sense of welcome. And that was hospitable to me. I think God designed the world to be translucent so that it doesn't stop with them. Nobody did it perfectly. Joy didn't do it perfectly. She's a remarkable woman. But, you know, a person with frailty and shortcomings and all those things that are characteristic of all of us. But when the world is translucent, it shows God through it, who is perfectly merciful, just, loving, and full of a kind of welcoming hospitality. So the picture in this song, I'm over talking the intro, but you might not get it otherwise. There's something about the supper time that matters just around the table. There's something about it that shows the love feast where the people of God, what the Bible calls a wedding supper. So all three of those are present in it. Tonight I'll be able to sit at the table with somebody who understands. I know I'm not worthy, my clothes are still dirty, but Daddy, he's washing my hands. Supper time, whoa. The long working day, I come home to supper time. Whoa, supper time. And I know they won't turn me away. We'll come in together, or some one by one. We'll wait until everyone's there. The light on each face is from the one who sits in the end chair. Supper time, whoa, supper time. When I most need to know that it's near. Supper time, whoa, supper time. Sometimes I smell the kitchen from here. When my heart gets tender, it helps to remember that I'm gonna be there tonight. I'll see all the other right. I can invite you to supper time. Whoa, supper time. At the close of a long working day, we'll come home to supper time. Whoa, supper time. No, they won't turn us away.
Take a moment for prayer. I invite you to take a deep breath and maybe stretch a little bit. We've been here for a bit, absorbing many wonderful stories. Please join me in prayer. What a life, God. We are so grateful to be able to come here and celebrate Joy and love her and continue loving her and feeling the confidence that she continues in your love. We thank you for the profound difference she made in our lives and really in the world. As we sit in silence, this room vibrates with memory. We see her in the beautiful stained glass windows that she celebrated, in memories of Echo Lake, in fish stories, in hospitality, in her love for many people, in her works of justice, even unpopular topics of justice. May we carry on that work, and may we see Joy in so many forms of beauty in the world and learn to value the world and its people as she did. It is true that we are a mosaic, all coming together from many small pieces, each of us fragmented, each of us carrying this memory or that memory of Joy. But when we come together, we are something wonderful. And we thank you for Joy reminding us of that and urging us onward. Even though we feel loss and sadness, God, help us to feel Joy herself, to share memories, to keep her alive in the world in many ways, and to share in her faith. And as we do share in her faith, we join in the prayer that Jesus taught us. Our God, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. So my sense of a memorial service is that we tell stories, we laugh, we cry, we make that person right here with us. And I do feel the Joy is right here with us. But now we also release her to God's care. Joy, you are so dearly loved. You are in our hearts and in our souls, and we will always carry you with us. Everything you have done is still done. Everything you love is still loved. Everything we've learned from you continues to guide us. And so we will let you pass from this world in which you did so much and where your presence is still felt. You leave us with the wisdom and perseverance to do what is good and right, and your memory will guide us gently but surely, just as you did in so many ways during your time with us. In love, we leave you in peace. God, we release to you our precious friend Joy, entrusting her into your love and holiness. We could not bear to let her go, except that we Amen. And we are going to sing another song. fellowship hall and share memories and refreshments, knowing that down here soon the last music lesson of the year will start in the high school downstairs, and it could get kind of noisy. So, God, may your peace be with Joy. And God, may your peace be on all who are here and all those lives who Joy enriched. Shine your light on this beloved community and help us to believe what we have not yet seen, what we cannot yet understand, so that your presence may lead us through each day and bring us into deepest wholeness and union with you. May peace be with all of you.